Welcome to our pod, and by that I mean on Wednesdays we read. I'm Hannah,
I'm Laura.
and we are two best friends who are doing a deep dive into a book series, one book at a time. Right now we are shiting on the Wheel of Time, and we are discussing book 4, The Shadow Rising. But before we get into that, Laura, what are you reading, watching, and or enjoying?
So I finally got it, Hannah. Get a Life, Chloe Brown.
I'm so excited.
I really like it so far. I'm not that far in, but it's really good. So far, there has not been a lot of super sexy stuff. So,
I mean, I just saw someone review it on TikTok and they only gave it 3 out of 5 peppers. So it might be okay for
okay,
you.
well, maybe it's mild enough for me.
I don't know. I do know like what's coming. I know what's in your future and it does get a little bit steamy.
Oh, okay, well,
So,
that's a little bit scary, but
I mean,
we'll see. So far, I really like it.
oh, good. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm so happy like you're finally taking this journey.
I love that the Brown sisters is like, oh yeah, way to go on this journey.
I mean, it's impressive. You're like finally getting there. It's something to be
Well,
like.
that was a really long wait for that book. Oh my
They're
gosh.
really popular.
Well, and
Everyone wants to
the
read
second
them.
one, I looked at it, it said something like, oh, the average wait time is 3 months. And I was like, that was about what it was for the
I
first
know.
one.
So get on that waiting list now.
Oh,
And
I'm
in
on
3 months, okay, perfect. See, it's going to be great. I'm so excited for you. Don't know why I'm saying so many times today. Guys,
I mean,
my brain is dead because I had trial school today, which is pretend being a lawyer. And I had to make a very difficult argument where my feedback was, you recovered well from when the attorney had to tell me I needed to do more work on it. So that my brain's a little fried today.
there's always a positive.
The problem was is we did like I just moved this week. We
Yeah,
did
you've
the
had a lot going on. So,
yeah, so we did the training last week and none of us were quite comfortable doing it. And so they gave us another
mhm.
week. But in that week, I forgot about the one thing he said, like, this is how you get this document in before the court. And I forgot
Oh,
that one
crap.
line. And so I didn't do that. And he like was like, Miss Hannah, do you think that there's another way to get this document in? And he was pretending to be the judge. So I had to say to a partner at my law firm, Judge, I'm sure there is, but could you give me a minute? So I found it. I got there, but and I improved well apparently. So all good things. But
That's good.
are you watching anything right now?
Okay. Another big thing
I
happened.
actually know what she's gonna say.
Disney
Guys.
Plus happened to me,
Yeah.
and I watched Luca. It was adorable.
You posted about it on Instagram last
I
night.
know it. Okay, so I just watched it last night, and it was so cute. Oh my gosh, I was tearing up at the end. But you know what? Those kind of movies, they know how to just get you and make you cry. But what a cute movie about a little boy who doesn't feel accepted in either world and finds someone like him. It
I
was
think
just
that's
great.
beautiful. I've
It
heard
was
that
great.
I've heard some controversies with Disney. Sorry guys that I always bring up controversies, but
No, we
like
like to hear it.
Luca, the people who created Luca were a little bit disappointed because
Hmm.
like it's so good that it should be getting the revenues that Cruella is getting, which wasn't as good. But they
Hmm.
put Cruella up behind a paywall and out in
Hmm.
theaters, and they didn't do it with Luca. They just pushed it out.
Hmm.
And I definitely get that on an appreciation level, but I'm also very happy like people get to watch it sooner. I don't know how to reconcile both thoughts in my head at the moment.
Sure. Well,
Yeah.
I haven't watched Cruella yet, but my parents watched it and they told me that it's a little dark and they said that it's kind of just being set up as like a movie franchise beginning and they think that they're trying to like make it into a multi movie thing and they
That's
just
a
don't
really weird take
they
though, because
they
then
don't
Cruella,
see that being very good because they said the movie was just okay. It wasn't very good.
but also this is supposed to be like a prequel. And
I know,
are
and
they
they
just going to
already
have
have the
Cruella?
live action Glenn
Yeah.
Close 101 Dalmatians, so do they need more with Emma Stone? I don't
I don't
know.
think they need a 30-year-old Cruella. I just don't think that that adds anything to the
No.
story.
I well, and I mean, they could be wrong, but my mom told me that the way that and granted, I have not seen it, so if you have comments, email us or hit us up on Twitter, but I guess it's kind of set up at the end like there's going to be another movie.
So I did read the synopsis on this, guys. Sometimes I just read synopses. I don't need to be surprised all the time, but
Sure. Well, and is Cruella going to be that surprising to anyone?
no,
Come on.
no.
No.
And so I read it and I do see where your mom's coming from. And like, there's going to be another movie, but also just why,
Right.
I
It's
don't
gotten a
understand
ton of
that.
hype too. And I feel like Luca has not gotten near as much hype, like you said, and it needs more.
Right. And that's where I'm at. I think like
So
Disney
good.
worked so hard to be like, this is Cruella and we have Emma Stone and all this stuff. And it's just like, why isn't this cute movie that everyone is telling me to watch getting it? And that's also, I remember my sister told me Raya the Last Dragon recently came out of the
Yeah,
paywall. And she was like, this movie is amazing. And it's just like these movies that are like Disney's backbone aren't getting as much clout because of live action stuff with big
sure.
names. It's like the Lion King all over
And you know
again.
what? This is one of those things where it's definitely just a nostalgia thing for a lot of people with these live action movies.
Mm-hmm.
And almost all of them are not good. And
No.
I just I I'm just disappointed by all of them really. And I wish we could just have more original things
Yeah,
and
I didn't finish
not
The Lion
always
King.
be I've never watched it.
It's not that good. The Can You Feel the Love Tonight? The lines are running around in the daytime.
What?
Yeah, the name of the song is Can You Feel the Love Tonight? And there's no moonlight. It's just them running around and playing in the sun.
What?
I can't make this up. You need to like Google at least Can You Feel the Love Tonight
So
live
it's kind of
action
like those it's 5 o'clock somewhere. You can feel the love tonight somewhere because it's somewhere tonight.
as you're watching the movie if it's at nighttime. So
That's ridiculous. Like
I know it's just not
that's
good.
honestly, that's a very simple thing they could have corrected.
It's so
Just
simple to
just
correct.
make it at nighttime.
I know. I agree. I don't know how that happened or why it happened, but it happened.
So is that when you checked out of the movie? You were like,
Pretty much.
no.
I think I was just kind of like, I'm over this. I don't need this in my lifetime. I
Also,
can,
I watched the Jungle Book live action. That was like one of the first live action ones they
yeah.
did, wasn't it?
Then they did
That
like
one,
two Jungle Book ones, like one Disney and
yeah.
one non-Disney. And I've seen one of them, but I couldn't tell you which one.
I think I've seen the Disney one.
Okay.
And they tried to make that one a very scary and dark thing. And that it was, I can see it being scary for kids, but as an adult, I mean, I was not scared.
Did you ever
But
see the
the
90s?
animals are weird in it, and I don't like how their mouths move and stuff. It freaks me out on a like cats and dogs, the movie type level.
Oh my God, I forgot about that movie. But did you ever see the 90s Jungle Book with like the grown-up Mowgli?
Yes,
I liked that one when I was
that one
growing
was
up.
fine.
I
There's
don't know
nothing
if it's
wrong with that one.
nostalgia, but it's like it's you're working with the adult Mowgli after he's
Yeah.
like gone back to the
Mhm.
jungle and lived there his entire life.
Yeah, no, I remember that.
Yeah. Mowgli was also very good looking in that movie from what I can remember.
Yeah,
But
shout
that's
out that
another side
actor.
note.
Wonder how he's doing.
I wonder how he's doing too. I'm sure he's done other things. We're just working from our 90s brains.
Yeah,
So
I'm just trying to remember him. Watch, we'll look him up. We'll Google him. Oh,
yeah,
way to go, 10-year-olds.
I know. Actually, I do want to look that up. Hold on one second. Okay, so the original Mowgli was Jason Scott Lee,
Okay.
who has been known. He played Bruce Lee and then he played Mowgli. So he didn't do a ton,
Okay.
but he is still working, it looks like. Oh, he was in Milan, the recent Milan.
Oh, the live action one.
Yeah, he was Bori Khan in the live action version of Milan.
Which I have not watched that either. But
Yeah.
I love Mulan. So I've
My
got to watch that.
My roommate and I did buy that while it was still behind the purchase wall, but mostly
Yeah.
because it was like the beginning of COVID. So it was like, yeah,
Sure.
we'll spend $30 to like have something to do that night.
Sure.
But yeah, so he's still working, guys. Watch the 1994 Jungle Book movie. Laura and I sign off on that one. But yeah, Disney, I just don't love how they're going with. I still need to watch Loki. I haven't done that yet, but you have to like catch up on all of them.
Are
you a superhero person?
Okay, I'm not. I'm really
Mhm.
not. But my husband likes the superhero stuff, so I think he will enjoy that.
You may like WandaVision. I really liked WandaVision.
I can get into the Star Wars stuff. I like Star Wars.
WandaVision is very like dippy, trippy stuff that I think you would actually like. It's not like pure superhero fighting bad guy. The last episode is pure superhero fighting bad guy, but the rest of it is a very interesting dissection.
Thanks for the clarification. I'll get to the last episode and be like, Hannah?
I couldn't lie to you about that, but like,
I appreciate that.
But every other episode, I think you'll be like, oh, this is fun and like campy and weird. I also thought Captain America and the Winter Soldier,
Oh yeah, you were into
or
that for a
Falcon
while.
and the Winter
Yeah,
Soldier.
Falcon and the Winter
I
Soldier.
never finished it, but I thought that was also very well done for a superhero TV show. Like, I think their TV
Okay.
shows are much better, but unfortunately, you might be a little lost if you haven't watched any of the movies.
You know, I have watched the Captain America movies, but I could not tell you what
I would have
happens
to
in them.
I'll tell you sometime on a Marco Polo what happens in all the movies so that you can come in with like fresh eyes and know what's going on when we open up like on WandaVision.
Honestly, the only superhero movie that I can recall is Black Panther.
Black Panther was good.
That that was a really good one.
Yeah.
And I watched the Captain America movies. Cannot tell you what happened in them. Cannot. I just know that the guy was skinny and then
Not
he went
skinny.
into a little tube and then he was not skinny and then like he was throwing around that shield.
Okay, well,
That's
you
all I
pretty
know.
much described Captain America, so you got there.
Yes. I am
Uh,
great at recalling superhero events.
I know you are. That's obviously what's
Yeah.
going on here when you
If
have only
anybody has
seen
any
like
other
four
good Disney
movies.
Plus suggestions though, hit me up because
Were you a
otherwise
fan of like Halloween Town?
I did watch those.
I still enjoy watching those. Number one and two. When they had the original
There's a lot of
actress.
just shows on there that I was just scanning through and like, oh my gosh, I'm totally just gonna watch all these shows that I watched as a child
We can
just
finally watch
because.
Cadet Kelly after the Bechtel ladies. A
Yes.
beautiful romance between Christy Romano and Hilary
That,
Duff.
that definitely queer coded movie.
It's fully queer coded. They are in love with each other, and you cannot
Uh,
tell us different now. But
that's what a lot of people were saying about Luca also.
oh,
So yeah.
I know
Like,
they recently came out with Disney was like, we're having our first LGBTQ person, and that people were like, you've had other movies where LGBTQ people were featured.
okay, but
You can't
like
keep
I
having
don't
the
count
first.
that live action Disney
Oh
moment where
no,
it's just like Josh Gad does one dance that he just like swipes through the scene and I don't know,
no, but
it's less than 5 seconds and then they're like, there he is. That doesn't count.
have you ever seen Homeward?
Homeward. No. Don't know what that is. Homeward. I don't know that one.
Okay, I have the right one. I don't have the right one.
You mean Onward?
Okay,
With Chris
yes.
Pratt.
Have you ever watched Onward?
I have not watched that, but that's on my watch list.
So, Homeward or Onward, there's a moment where she is talking about there's a character who is a lesbian in it.
Oh,
So,
okay.
she's talking about like her stepdaughter and she's commiserating with a man about his stepsons.
So they like definitely address the fact that yes, this person is a lesbian.
It says my wife, yes, but
Okay.
but there was
Because a lot of
also
times Disney tends to do that where they're like, oh yeah, Josh Gad's character LeFou is definitely gay. And it's like,
right.
that doesn't count.
Yeah, no,
They like to do that kind of stuff all the time. Or they'll be like, oh yeah, Elsa in Frozen, you know. And it's like, how could we know? She's single the entire time.
Oh my God. Yeah. No, that's just performative. That's just so they don't have to like anger people who don't like
Right.
gay and lesbian characters. And
Right.
just, I don't know. People will buy it so much more. Just stop queer coding and just make her outright a lesbian. Who cares?
If you're going to do it, do it. If you're not, don't. Just don't be so wishy-washy. Like, oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
They definitely did it in Onward, but then people were like, it's a purple monster with one eye. This is not what we asked for when we asked for representation.
Oh.
Yeah. So definitely by no means perfect.
Okay.
But yeah. So
I mean, we got to get better about that.
We really, 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 really do.
Hannah, what have you been reading and watching?
So I just got done with The Brightlands, which is by John Fram. It is about a gay man who was experienced trauma in his small hometown. And then he starts getting like weird messages from his brother. So he comes into town the night of a big football game. The brother sees him and then the brother leaves to like go out of town for the weekend, he says. And then he fully disappears. And I thought what I was reading was a very interesting small town thriller mystery. What I got at the end was something a little bit paranormal. And they do hint at paranormal throughout the book, but I thought it was like a little bit too much of a light sprinkle. And I wish it had been a little bit more heavy handed. So when the paranormal stuff came up at the end, I wasn't like, where's this coming from?
Mm-hmm.
And I've noticed that with a couple of books I've been reading lately, where it's just like, this is a book about one thing, and then all of a sudden this bigger thing comes into it. And you're just like, I didn't know I was reading that book. And I feel like you just put it in there to shock me, but really it just
Okay.
confuses me.
So this has been a theme that I have noticed with your reading where you think you're getting one book and you end up with another.
Yeah, maybe it's just the books I'm picking.
Did you
Maybe
read the book jacket? This is my
no.
question. Okay,
Okay.
wow.
I read part of it
That
enough to
happened
know
the
what it was
last time,
about.
wasn't it?
Yeah, the last time was a book jacket where the
Yeah.
book jacket told me what the plot was and it was a character driven novel. But this is a purely plot one where like the plot was just off.
Okay.
Or I think the book jacket said something along the lines, like I didn't read the whole thing, but it said something along the lines of like it reveals more secrets. But here's the problem. The ending surprise thriller was already like really big. Like it was really
Okay.
weird. So
Okay.
then to bring on paranormal stuff or fantasy elements to it after you've already had this really weird, like out of the park mystery reveal, it just felt weird to me. And it made me
Yeah,
like
that's
the
fair.
book less. Because I was like, oh, this is a great book. Highly recommend. And then when I got done, I was like, maybe not.
Yeah, maybe to each their own.
But also, I finished it today.
Okay, what did you think?
Okay. So people who don't want to hear spoilers for it, like skip 4 minutes because I do think I need 4 minutes.
Okay. Skip now.
Skip now. 4 minutes. I really liked the fantasy plots. I really liked the plot of the novel. I thought it was so interesting. I thought it was very dynamic. And I also think that Stephen King's people should have edited him down so hard.
Okay.
And
they
the
need to do
80s
that with every single one of his
Oh my
books, though.
gosh.
I read
I know.
The Outsider. That book did not need to be that long. Did not.
He makes everything so long and it reeks of the 80s to the point where I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Stephen King, you're still alive. I'm sorry, guys, heavy spoilers for it. Get rid of the gangbang of 12-year-olds, like where they all have sex with Beverly one at a time. Get rid of it. It's disgusting. I don't want to read it. And don't make it her choice. Just because you're making it her choice does not make it a traumatic experience for a young girl to be like, I get to be close with all 6 men at once. Like, no, thank you. It's disgusting. And the way her character was treated made me her and Mike, I was like, okay, so you have 5 white boys, and then a girl who all of her horror series scenes actually got me scared. No one else's really. But hers about like the blood and about the children and the drains and the lady and her old house where she realized she's like drinking poop.
Yeah.
It's all horrifying and scary. And the fact that it happened to one woman, and then her entire arc is leading up to like her removal from her dad and her abusive husband. And she doesn't get to have a final confrontation with the abusive husband. He dies by seeing its real face, and that's it. And then she just has to see his dead body. And it's like, why did he even come all this way?
Yep.
She stood up to him in Chicago. It's over. And yeah, we're having this like thing where he has to travel across the country for no apparent reason, not for her to continue to stand up for herself or to continue to care. And then like, I did actually like the element of, I didn't end up with my childhood street sweetheart, but I just ended up with a fat kid, which is also like screams of fat phobia because she can't be with him until he's skinny. And then like, again, guys, I get that this is a book written in the 80s, but these are the parts that made me seethe. I did in fact like this book. I did rate it 4 stars, but it lost a star based on these things that just made me too angry. And then Mike is just like the epitome of the like magic black man trope. Like he is there at the end of the group to go into the tunnels with them. And then he's there to stay in Derry, to remember everything, and then to tell them everything, and then get stabbed by the crazy white man and taken out of the plot until the very end. And that is a trope that needs to die. And their treatment made me so angry as I was listening to this book. So sorry for my 4 minutes on it, but I just finished it today and I had lots of
I think you still got a couple minutes if you wanted to go on, but 5 stars on that rant because it's very accurate. So my comment is that Stephen King, I hear a lot of nice things about him from people that have met him and have worked with him. But why are we not critiquing him a little bit more in the way that he writes things? Why are we are very quick to call out other people who are not Stephen King, if they were to write something that had as much male gaze or was as problematic
The male gaze
as
of that 12-year-old girl in that book. Ugh. Ugh.
it happens in so many of his books, though, that it's noticeable. And even as a first-time Stephen King reader, you can pick up on these things.
Yes.
And I am not taking away from the talent that he has. He is an extremely talented writer. He can write anything, any genre. I am positive he can write it.
Yeah.
However, I think because he is Stephen King and people know how talented he is, they're not calling him out on some of these things that are just problematic. And all of the things that you just mentioned about it are totally true. And I just think that nobody's saying anything to him about it because it's Stephen King and they don't want to have to make these edits because it's Stephen King and he's a nice guy. And it's just okay. But when do we draw the line here and say, okay, this is wrong?
I did find one article that was about like the worst sex scenes in Stephen King novels.
Mm-hmm.
There were 6 of them, but all the other ones were rape. But number 1 was still that scene, it scene, because it's horrifying to read this about children.
Yeah.
And I do think you're right. There has to be some critique of Stephen King. I think he gets away with it almost because he wrote for the horror genre for so long. So these were all like the way women were treated in horror. No, it's not a pass. But I'm saying the way women were treated in horror for so long was similar to the way Beverly was treated.
Yeah.
And we haven't had that, like, I think we're slowly coming to that reckoning, but like people still idolize. Like I've matched with like men on Tinder who are like, yeah, the librarian told me I was reading too many white men books. And I'm like, no, Stephen King is a white man book. Like, I'm not saying you can't enjoy it, but read like 6 other books. Like, don't just read Stephen King. And that's your only
definitely
like mainstream into the horror genre. Cause then you like start drinking the Kool-Aid and it just becomes way too much.
No, and don't get me wrong, I like Stephen King a lot.
Too.
I love some of his books. Like, I think he's, like I said, I think he's an excellent writer, but we need to maybe, look at him under a little bit more of a magnifying glass than we do with the way that he writes characters and the way that he describes things.
Yes, you can have a positive critique of an author, or you can have a critical critique of an author you love. And I love Stephen, like the Dark Tower series was one of the few books I read during law school. Yeah. And I loved them. Like I thought they were so amazing. Oh, also.
And the Green Mile, that's amazing. 11/22/63, that's amazing.
Yes.
A little long. We could have cut that one down too. But
the Mr. Mercedes trilogy is fantastic. Like highly recommend.
Yeah.
And these are all different genres. Like he does really well in different genres.
Yeah.
But like, it's just a little too much sometimes.
Sure.
Oh, and I'm sorry. I get it. It's the 80s. And I get that it's only bad characters who are doing this. I didn't need to hear the N-word that much screamed into my head. At one point, I was like, I can't listen to this audiobook in the car because if I pull up to someone, they're going to be like, what is going on?
What's happening?
There was needed to be a self-edit because I did not need to hear it that many times. Yeah, it was not good.
That's too much.
It's way too much.
I just think we need to be more aware of the books that we're reading and say, okay, you know what, I enjoy this, but there are definitely things that are problematic in this writing. And
yeah, I agree.
A lot of times people tend to watch movies or read books that they love and have loved for a long time and brush certain issues under the rug. And I just don't think that's okay. I think you can watch things and read things with a critical lens and still enjoy them, but realize that there are problems.
Definitely. So that was our rant on Stephen King. It might have lasted longer than 4 minutes, but the only spoilers were for the first 4 minutes.
And I don't even think there are 4 minutes. I think we've got another 4.
I think we could talk about Stephen King for a long time because he's a very prolific writer. But with that said, I am also rewatching Insecure, which is one of my favorite HBO TV shows. It has Issa Rae in it.
Okay.
And it's some of the like most well done writing. I love her storyline. I love how like vulnerable she is in creating this character. She's done things with this character that in the first season I didn't realize was a plot point so quickly on my rewatch. I thought I like already fallen in love with this character by that time. And I was like, oh, I've only been here for like 2.5 hours. So overall, I just think it's super well written. The jokes in it are so funny. Like there's a moment where her best friend, like she's been in a relationship for a really long time. The relationship is kind of dead on arrival. And she's talking to her best friend who's like on dating apps. And she's like, oh, can I look and see like what I'm missing? And she's like, okay, go ahead. And she's telling stories. And the friend goes, I mean, you gotta fuck a lot of frogs to find a good frog. And Issa Rae character goes, I don't think that's a saying.
I don't think that's a saying either.
Right? It's so funny when you're watching it. You're just like, oh my God. Yeah. And like,
oh my gosh. Wow.
the best friend is a lawyer who's single and her like dating life is kind of a mess. So that's funny for me to watch because it's funny to like they're both like inverses of each other. So like the lawyer, her social life is not that put together. She like goes to work, she has everything put together on work stuff. But then Issa Rae's character looks like her home life and her dating life are so put together, but really she's a mess like at work and emotionally. So like they're both coming from two different sides. And the way the like their relationship specifically advances through the years through like ups and downs is written so smartly. And they're really like the two main characters of the show. And I just love that show so much. So rewatching it has been a treat. And I thought I had another thing to say, but I feel like we've been talking for so long about Stephen King and Disney.
Brave New World.
Oh, how was that?
It was fine.
Okay.
It was fine. I don't really have it like didn't give me like this is a great show vibe, and I didn't think it was awful. I think it was a fine adaptation of the book.
Do you think it took itself too seriously? I feel like sometimes with Brave New World, that book takes itself too seriously.
I mean, how else can you do it though?
That's fair.
What a strange book. I mean, how else can you do it?
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know how else they could have adapted it, but I think it was fine. That's my only comment on it. It's just fine. I understand why it wasn't renewed. I mean, what else are they supposed to do with it? They got to the end of the book. Where else are they supposed to go? I mean, there's not much to work with there.
I mean, but then again, Handmaid's Tale did it, so
I have not watched that.
I don't recommend it.
Okay. I read that and the Testaments, and I really liked them, and I kind of just don't want to ruin them with TV show.
The first season is pretty on par with the book itself. Like it follows the book to a T. And then I kind of stopped watching in season 2 because I was like, I don't know if I care enough anymore. But like as time has gone on, it's weirder and weirder to watch Elizabeth Moss in this television show because she's a Scientologist.
I should not laugh. Okay, continue.
No, I mean, that's it. Like, it's weird to watch the show when Elizabeth Moss is creating like this thing of like, this is a very sickening cult. And then it's like, but in your real life,
in your real life, you're in a cult.
Yeah.
So
I think my taste for it has gone down after.
It would be interesting, Leah Remini's take on that.
Right. I'm sure it would be.
Have you watched any of her Scientology in the Aftermath or listened to her podcast?
I listened to a How Did This Get Made where she was on talking about it.
Yeah, her, and I can't remember the guy that's with her. He used to be kind of a big deal in Scientology.
Right.
He's that Australian man that has very nice accent that I like to listen to him speak. But and he's probably why they used him to like woo these people because of his voice. But their podcast I have listened to, and I watched all of Scientology in the Aftermath, and it's one of those things where you're just watching and you just can't look away.
Yeah.
Or listening and you just can't stop listening. You're like, how? And you feel so bad for these people because I think a lot of them get into this with good intentions. They want to help people. They want to help the world. And then they're just really misled. And that makes me sad that there's people that really want to do good things for the world, and then they end up really being used and getting into very bad situations. So financially or otherwise, in the case of Scientology, a lot of bad things happened to some of the people that were involved in Scientology that were on that show.
No, I agree.
So it's just unfortunate that it has to happen that way. But I did not know that Elizabeth Moss was a Scientologist. There are a lot of celebrity Scientologists, and you know what? They are treated much differently than the people who are not celebrities. So they have a much different experience. So it's kind of,
Oh yeah, and when she's been questioned about it, she's just like, I have a great experience with my religion, and it's like,
yeah,
of course you
and
do.
they're adamant that there's nothing going
Yeah,
on, but they don't experience the same things that the people who are not celebrities do.
right.
And they're kind of hidden away from the other things that are going on in Scientology.
No, exactly. So that's my take on Handmaid's Tale. It's like first season was fine.
I'll
Stop
probably
watching it
skip
after the
it.
second.
I
Yeah, I
I
would just
probably will
skip
not
it.
watch it just because I really enjoyed the books. I think
Yeah.
Margaret Atwood is great,
Yes.
and I just don't think I want to watch that TV show, especially because I've also heard people say that it goes different directions, and I don't want to ruin the books.
That's fair. Although I will say Margaret Atwood skip the robber bride. Like it's not worth anyone's time. It's my personal opinion, but don't
Okay.
do it. It's not that good. But should we get into it? We've done a lot of
Hannah, I'm trying to put
sidetracks.
this off. I'm trying to put this off because I'm not ready.
You're not ready to discuss the women in the
I'm not
Shadow
ready
Rising?
to talk about Foo Foo. I'm not ready.
Well, I'm gonna save her for last because I feel like we've talked about her enough. I think she's a wrap-up character, not like everyone knows where we stand on Foo Foo. We've made
I mean,
me.
I'm definitely willing to talk about Stephen King a little more.
Well, why don't we talk about Nynaeve to like break the ice? She's your favorite out of all the
I
women.
guess. I guess. Let's get into it.
Okay, so what did you think about Nynaeve in this book?
I mean, same story, different day.
Yeah.
She she's naive. She's doing stuff that she calls other people out for and doesn't realize it. It's naive. Her and Elaine are what a weird combo of people, but also the best combo to be together. Like,
I
who
do
else
think
would you
it's
put
the
with Nynaeve that would handle her the way that Elaine does? I don't know.
I do think she's the best option. Like she's the best one who
Yeah,
made Nynaeve the most palatable for
and
me.
I think that it's definitely one of those things where it's like if her Nynaeve and Egwene were together, everyone would just be really tense because there would just be a ton of fighting.
Yes.
And I think if she was with one of the boys, it would just be her bossing them around the entire time. But her with Elaine, there's not really that, there's not really a sisterly type bond. They're just kind of friends. And Elaine will call her out on, look, I know you can't get your emotions in check, but could you just try? And that's the best description of their relationship. And Nynaeve is not trying to get her emotions in check. She's not trying to not be a hypocrite, and she's still spilling secrets. She's still getting angry, but you know what? I'm still here for her.
So I posted on Twitter yesterday, I believe, like something about like Nynaeve and Elaine after they tell everyone their big secret. And it's a clip
Yeah.
from The Office where it's what's his name? Kevin.
Kevin.
And he
Okay.
goes, I kept that secret so good.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, those girls cannot keep a secret to save their
No.
lives.
No.
Like they're so bad at it. I will say you're right. The only thing I will add to my annoyance of Nynaeve, everyone knows I'm not a Nynaeve stand.
Yeah.
I just don't like reading about someone being so in denial about their own thing, where she's like in the dream world and they're like, you have to have patience. And she's like, I always have patience. And it's like,
And it's like, no, you don't. You don't.
You
have
don't. You
patience.
don't. Like, just admit it to yourself, admit it to someone. Like, I like it when she has self reflection and she's like, oh, I can't do it like I thought I could.
Yeah.
I hate
But
reading.
you know what? Usually that's when it's like moments where she encounters something like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that it took 10 Aes Sedai to do this. I thought maybe I could do it. It's like, no, you dummy. Why do you think you could do what it takes 10 Aes Sedai to do? Now. So it's moments like that where it's like, obviously you could not do that.
I like Nynaeve when she's not being a huge, like, in denial person. And when she stops using the power because everyone else is so reliant on it. And she's like, this is so dumb. Just punch this woman in the face. I liked her final showdown. What's the woman's name?
Egyanan.
No, not Egyanan. The one who is a Forsaken.
Oh. I'm like,
Something
I
with
can
an
only think
M.
Asmodean, and that's not right.
Oh, Mogadine. Like,
Mogadine.
I
Yes,
liked
yes, yes.
her final battle with Mogadine because she was like, this woman relies too much on power. She has no idea what she's doing. So I'm going to use my brain. Like, Nynaeve is a very smart and capable person. I just hate when she lets her smart capableness like be overshadowed by all those insecurities that she takes out as anger on anyone else who has to deal with her. So that's when I really dislike Nynaeve. But the parts I do like about her were like the battle with Mogadine, the funniness of her not being able to keep a secret to save her life. Like if
Oh yeah.
she will tell anyone and everyone. Um, besides the fact that she's not actually Aes Sedai.
Right. I dig her confidence and how she's still just that person that will try to push it to the limit with like, I'm an Aes Sedai. We don't let you do this, and people just go with it because she has that confidence.
That is very funny. And like her in the dream world was funny because she kept being like, oh God, maybe I made a mistake. And it's just like, yes, you always
make mistakes, Nynaeve. It's fine.
But she's just like, she's so in denial about her own sense of self.
Oh
And
yeah,
I'm just like, no, I can't take this. Like,
I will say though that I do kind of appreciate the way that she is written as far as her taking out her, I shouldn't say taking out her being angry as a way of like showing that she's insecure, because I think that that's often not the way that characters are written. That a lot of times when characters are insecure, they're more timid.
that's
So I do
fair.
think that's interesting that she is more of an aggressive type character, because that is also insecure, and that she's powerful and everything, because typically you don't see that. It's more timid characters.
That is very fair. And I do like that as a character. I like what Nynaeve brings to the people who love her. I do very
Yeah.
much appreciate that.
Yeah.
I just don't read her the same way.
Yeah.
So it's two very different reads on the same character,
Sure.
which I think is great. I think we're both like the fact that you and I both disagree on Nynaeve shows what a great character she is. Because if we always agreed, that'd be a really stupid conversation. But to shift to someone
It'd be a very Brave New World of us.
That's very fair. Let's move on to her PIC, Elaine.
Okay. Elaine and Nynaeve, that dynamic I'm totally fine with and I enjoy it. Elaine and Rand, I cannot stand.
I mean, it's so dumb. It's so dumb. Someone did tweet at us, these are children, guys, or like they're teenagers. And I'm like, well, you could still be annoyed by teenagers.
I'm very annoyed by 17-year-olds, but that's just me.
17-year-olds are annoying.
You know what? Fair. But at the same time, I disagree. I can still be annoyed.
But also, this is, let's face it,
fantasy.
It's fantasy, and
these are not real people. I get to be annoyed with them.
We're also doing a comedy podcast where we're talking about these same characters for 14 books. So we're going to get annoyed with a teenager a time or two.
Yes.
That's just, but they are right. These are teenagers. So this is a teenager relationship.
We have to take out our anger somehow. And this is how we do it on this podcast at these imaginary characters. We keep everything bottled up throughout the week, and then we just let it go complaining about Elaine and Rand's relationship. That's
I don't have a problem with Elaine herself. I have a problem with their relationship. It's just one of those things where it's like, if I'm watching two 17-year-olds who may or may not end up together at the end of this book series, I can be frustrated that this type of relationship will continue on until they are together. Like, I just don't want to see a toxic relationship like this where there's mixed messages. I'm going to write him a letter saying all my feelings, and then I'm going to take it all back because we agreed to terms of our relationship and he just went along with it. Like,
I wish that this was a time when technology existed for them, because if they could have just sent a quick text rather than Elaine writing these letters, let me just say it, the note passing days were a confusing time. And they're still at the note passing stage.
The note passing stage was a confusing time. I did not send notes to crushes, but
I'm not going to comment on that, but I'm just going to say that it was a confusing time, and
fair.
They're still in the note passing stage.
Yes, they are.
Granted, they're still have covered wagons and stuff like that, I believe, according to the cover of the books.
Yeah.
But so they obviously wouldn't be texting, but it's a shame that they couldn't just, whoops, didn't mean to send that, sent to wrong person.
Well, no, I just think it's a like I do get her feelings on I just opened my heart up to him and I feel like he doesn't reciprocate and now I'm freaking out. Like that's a very human reaction.
Yeah.
But to send a letter taking it all back and saying like it's just one of those things where it's like I wish he had handled it differently, not just like because then Rant,
Yeah.
you and I are both on Rand's side where he's like, she's sending me mixed messages. I don't understand.
She is.
But if we do the flip side, he is not a communicative person.
No.
And I think
the only thing that he's able to communicate is that he really enjoys dreaming about all of them.
yes. And I do think like in defense of Elaine, I'm doing this right now because I feel like we should defend her.
Yeah.
As a character, guys, I honestly think she's the blandest character in this book series so far.
Agreed.
I just don't think she has much of a personality outside
when
of
people
her
say
love for
she's
Rand.
their favorite, I just think, okay, but why?
I mean, maybe you and I just don't read in because like our theory of last book was with the women, people read in what they want out of a character and what they like out of it. So I'm sure with her, it's like she's, you know, a princess who's capable. She, you know, goes after what she wants.
The diplomacy and stuff like that than we are. But
yes, I just don't think she does much for the plot, honestly. But then we also love Loyal, who does very little for the plot.
Loyal does a lot of things for the plot, you guys.
So it's all comes out in the wash. But in her defense, like I do think it would be frustrating to have a man who is as like had that much lack of communication as Rand. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I do think that's right. But the start of their relationship was her saying, I know I can only get you for 4 days. I want you for those 4 days and nothing else. And then getting mad at him when he thought that was all she wanted. It's just, there's just some part of me that's like, no, I do think like on this side, you know.
And I know she didn't really ask Avienda and Egwene to kind of be her girl gang bodyguards and to stalk Rand and make sure that he didn't even look at other women. Right. So we can't blame that on Elaine because that is a very annoying thing in itself, that whole situation that they are getting mad at Rand on her behalf. Yes. And I don't enjoy that. But Elaine did not ask them to do that. So
that is technically not her fault.
It's not her fault.
But it's frustrating to like read how the women are communicating with the other men and then blaming the men when there's a lack of communicate. Like it's just so these are all take charge women. I guess this is my problem. Jordan created very take charge women, but when it comes to men, they are like so not take charge besides Foo Foo, unfortunately. And we wish she would be less take charge, but like, it's just there's so many issues that are underlying that. And I just yes, they are teenagers. I do understand that. But it's hard to watch a toxic, angry relationship begin and be like, oh, we're supposed to be rooting for this pairing. Like it just doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay.
What do you think of Tom and Elaine? Do you think that they're father-daughter?
No, but I think they just have a weird relationship because he had sex with her mom.
Yeah. It is weird, and I think Robert Jordan is definitely not taking that anywhere. I think he just wanted to fake people like me out and be like, let's do this. I know. Let's make people think that this is possibly her dad. I'll go nowhere with it, but they'll hang around for 12 more books and think that this is going to be a thing.
I mean, he drops plot lines all the time. Like it's a 14-book series written in the 90s. So I think this is more to like get Elaine to interact with people who aren't Nynaeve, Egwene, or Rand.
Yeah.
Because she hasn't had that interaction yet.
Mm-hmm. So besides like a couple times when she interacted with Matt that we didn't read.
Yeah, you get to hear about it like off screen. This happened. They talked a lot. They talked so much. They were like BFFs. Like you have no idea. It's just like, it's just Matt and Elaine playing dice.
Dancing.
Him asking for a kiss and her being like, no. But yeah, I feel like they just wanted to like play her off another person because she's around a lot of people who are in power, but Tom isn't really. So it's supposed to show like how Elaine is powerful.
One of those characters that if she's not, it's like you said, they want her to interact with other characters and maybe just a character that's going to stick around for a while because a lot of times she's with these characters, it's like, okay, well, they're here now, they're gone.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so maybe this is just an opportunity to maybe get her more involved with some of the other main characters.
I honestly feel like that's what it is. And to show like how
That's very
diplomatic she
fair.
is, how powerful she is, because she keeps being played off of very powerful people. And then she
Yeah.
fades into the background because like in this book, Robert Jordan uses it as an opportunity to be like, Tom thinks she made a good decision.
Mhm.
Tom thinks she did this. Tom said this. I impressed
And this is
Tom.
after we have learned that Tom has given Rand good advice, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So we're like, oh, Tom is so smart.
So I think it's a way of bolstering up
sure,
what you and I see as a bland personality.
sure. But
Yeah.
since we have the confirmation that a man thinks she is smart and making good decisions, we know now that women can do it.
I mean, that's how I get my jobs. So,
Yep.
so I mean, I'm still like neither here nor there on Elaine. I get why people, well, I get why people like her on those personality traits we discussed.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
think Jordan is doing
could buy that.
as effective as a job as I wish he could for this type of powerful.
No.
Because she's the most sedate, powerful person in the room.
Mhm, mhm.
Like everyone else is a hothead. She has it going on with like, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
I can take a step back. I actually love those types of characters.
Yeah.
I just don't think we have enough there yet.
I think she definitely evaluates situations better than the other two
Yes.
that we see a lot.
Mhm.
Because Egwene and Nynaeve is obviously like on the like hot pepper jalapeno end of anger, and Egwene's maybe more towards that end than Elaine is. But yeah, Nynaeve will react instantly. Egwene is pretty quick to react to things and not necessarily think them through. And then we've got Elaine, who will maybe take a step back and think, okay, but should this be happening?
Exactly. So I think she is a good character in those respects. I just wish we saw more.
Yeah.
But maybe that's where we end with Elaine.
Yeah. I don't really have much more to say.
Yeah. What about Moraine?
Moraine, I enjoy her and Rand together and the dynamic between them.
I love watching their dynamic so much. There's just like the innermost, like interesting conflict going on.
Honestly, in this book, their interactions were my favorite. And I just really like the two of them and how they're played off of each other.
Agreed. I was a big fan. I think Moraine is going on like a different journey than I expected her to. I am getting more and more frustrated with her as the books go on, just because I feel like
frustrated, but go ahead.
I feel like she's not moving with the plot very easily. Like, and I get this is a character. This is what her character is. She's trying to go down the path. She has identified. She has studied. She has practiced. She is living. But like, she met a human being. Like, she met a human being. It's Rand, and she cannot remove herself from like he's the dragon reborn versus he is still a teenage boy who is trying to figure things out. And she's like, I need to get rid of Tom. He's trying to help Rand. I need to do this like because of Rand. And I am finding myself.
She is a little unwilling to kind of roll with the punches type thing.
Yes.
She wants things to go a certain way. And I can see how that would be frustrating. But it's interesting to watch that play out and how she reacts to it and how she tries to work against that happening. And how she really does not want Rand to try and speed things up or, you know, fulfill prophecies, and how she wants things to go a certain way, because it's definitely one of those things that she wants to have more control over the situations that she's in, and she's not getting it. So I really like watching, or I shouldn't say watching, but reading that.
I enjoy reading it. I'm just frustrated with the character and like the things about her saying, well, even if Nynaeve wants land, she can't have him. I'm like, oh, you're showing a lot more rigidity that I thought you had in you, you know?
Which that seems so opposite of what we heard in the third book, which is why that doesn't make sense to me. But I think that's just Robert Jordan kind of doing a, you know, women fighting over man type thing. So women be fighting over land.
Apparently. But Maureen only wants him as a rewarder. It's just such a weird dynamic that I just didn't buy into as much.
It's kind of just one of those things where it's like, you can't have him, Nynaeve, and I don't really want him, but I'm going to keep him from you. And I think that's kind of what Jordan is trying to give us, and I'm not here for that.
Well, and in the first three books, she feels like she is a little bit more go with the flow. Like, I do know
Yeah,
since book one, her character flaw is she does not see these people as people. Like, she sees them as
correct.
pawns. She sees as
They're
like
all just
working a
part of the
chess game.
plan to save
Yes.
the world. She does not care about their emotions, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, which people have called out, Nynaeve. And
Yes.
so let's give her a little credit there. She called it.
That's true.
But however, it's one of those things that she has done extensive research on all this stuff. She's very capable, and she's kind of one of those, I want to do this for the betterment of the entire world, and these people have to do these things for these things to happen. And it's more of a, let's do this for everyone and sacrifice a few type
Yeah.
situation.
And I do think that's what she's doing, but sometimes it's frustrating to
Oh,
read when
it's
it's like,
definitely frustrating, especially when you're in this perspective of the few.
right. And when you're like, Rand seems to be doing pretty okay in this book.
Right.
He seems to have a plan, just like, and if you would
And you know
say,
what? He's doing a lot of things that I appreciate, because he's looking into his history. He's trying to learn more about being a leader, and he's really kind of like getting into his power more and everything
Mhm.
too. So it's not like he's doing things wrong. It's not like he's being like a little turd like Matt.
No.
So I just don't think that there's a lot to criticize him for, but Moraine doesn't have that control over him, and that's what the problem is.
Well, and that's the problem is he said, all you have to do is promise you're not going to control me, that you and I are going to work together.
And she
And
can't.
she can't do it. So that's a little bit frustrating to read, but
Yeah.
like it is an interesting expansion on character traits, which we had
Mhm.
already seen
Yeah.
with a little bit more inconsistency on like the land stuff.
Yeah.
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 Okay. What about Egwene?
Egwene, why does she have to wear braids in her hair?
I honestly felt like Egwene did nothing in this book. Like she did nothing in this book. The only character development we have
So
of her.
she has interactions with Amis, and she's trying to learn to be not a wise one, but a dream walker, correct?
Yeah.
And I just feel like she doesn't really learn anything, and we don't really get any info on any of her power, which was very interesting in the last book. We just kind of see her get scolded and made to wear braids in her hair for no reason. And then she occasionally gets mad at Rand because he looked at some other woman, or
Is
it's
being
just,
mean to Avienda or
yeah.
whatever.
And it's just like, don't do that to her.
I
Like,
mean,
please give her something else with her character.
we've kind of got you've got on record that like Perrin's your favorite. I think mine
Yeah.
are like almost 50-50 Perrin a queen.
Mhm.
And so watching her be like just pushed to the back where she's not allowed to go into dreams, which is her most interesting trait. She's
Mhm.
just following Rand around saying he's just so different. And like you're different. You're doing all these things. You're trying out new ways of life. And like you're not going to know who this man is anymore. You know,
Mhm.
you both finally declare that you don't love each other anymore. So that's fine. But like all you did was like be a wingman to your girlfriend. And I was just disappointed. Like I was
It
just
is
disappointed
disappointing,
reading about Egwene this time around
because there's so
because
much potential for her, especially after she says that she is not interested in Rand anymore. They could have done more with her as a character and given her more in terms of discovering her dream walking abilities, and which is super interesting, or more about like working with the wise ones, etc. And we just don't get that. It's kind of just like a here they are, and then we don't really get much.
I think Jordan doesn't know how to write one woman. I think they have to be together and contentious for them to be
There
successful.
has to be, yeah, exactly. There has to be some kind of snag for them to have any kind of
And then
well written chapters, I feel like.
and unfortunately, Egwene needed to learn through these chapters, so there's no contention with
Yeah.
her, and therefore very little growth as a character. And it's
Yeah.
just a little bit of a bummer, I thought, overall.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully in the books to come, I have a strong feeling that when she walked through those three arches and saw herself becoming the Amerlin seat, that will probably happen.
I agree.
And I'm hopeful that in the books to come, she'll have more education, and that it won't just be when we see Egwene that she has to have like little fights with other women. I hope it's more of a she gets to learn and grow as a person in order to become the leader of the Aes Sedai.
I agree. I really hope for that. So we have hope for a queen. I was just disappointed in my other favorite character of this series.
I agree. It was disappointing because there was potential for a lot of cool things.
Do you want to talk about Avienda?
I guess.
I mean, we're on the same page. She feels like she's the worst. Like,
here's my thing. This is how I said this before. He has written her as being so mad at Rand on Elaine's behalf. Here's the thing. She probably has the hots for Rand so badly that she just can't take it. And so what does she do? She just gets mad at him because she loves him so much and can't stand it, even though she's only met him like, I don't know, twice.
I mean,
and
Min's only met him like twice, and she is so
and she's in
with
love
him.
with him. So ridiculous. But this whole being furiously mad at him because you have the hots for him and you feel bad because your friend likes him too is just very frustrating to read.
Here's the thing. Enemies to lovers usually needs one that they're actually both enemies, and Rand is doing
this is
nothing
not
to this
enemies
woman.
to lovers because he's not her enemy.
I know. And B, it needs the perspective of the person who has the crush who's being mean. If you don't see that side of things, all you're doing is watching this woman bully this guy for no reason.
The only reason I'm saying that, and because we haven't really learned that she does have the hots for him, I'm just saying she does because that is how Robert Jordan writes things. There cannot be a single woman in this series who could not be in love with Rand at some point. So I just know that that's where he's going with this. And you're right. He does not tell you that she has the hots for him. So it is very frustrating to just read about this woman just being ridiculously mad at him and mean all the time.
I have seen one theory on this because if you remember correctly, she did go into Ruidian where they have a similar test to the Icy Die. Icy Die. Why do I always call them Icy Die?
Icy Die.
The Icy Die. So she probably has seen her future. So what if in her
she
future
sees herself with Rand?
And so that's what she's fighting.
Also, you know what? I kind of wanted to see what they saw in those arches, and we don't get that. And we didn't get that with Elaine either. And I kind of wanted to see, because if Egwene's 3 turns were all about Rand, guess what? I bet theirs were all about Rand, considering they love him so much.
I mean, their past wouldn't, or like their like what if probably wouldn't have been about Rand because like Rand would have never come to them. But I don't know.
I still think that
everyone's obsessed with Rand. It's fine.
It'd be like the first time they ever met him. Like that would be what it was. Like he fell into the garden of my palace and some kind of interaction like that.
But the amount that like Avienda is so against Rand is just not fun to read. It's not unique.
No, it's just ridiculous.
Well, and then he gives her a bracelet and she's like, maybe I do kind of want to be nice to him. And it's like, yes, that is how
this is
how you make a woman like her. You buy her jewelry after she bullies you. Welcome to the 2nd grade. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And this is the problem. Like, you have this powerful warrior character who's grown as a woman of the spear who did not want to leave it. But because
she's a wise one
because
training.
She was so powerful. So it's a similar dynamic to like, it's a more capable Rand storyline, where she's like a warrior.
Also, I hate what they're doing with her, where they're like, put on this skimpy outfit and seduce him. Like come on.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you have this character who seems so amazing in theory. And then when you plop her into the way this novel is written, she's actually the worst. Like, we both dislike this character fundamentally because of how she's written, even if you take like the bones of her character and they're great. So what are we doing here?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what we're doing, Laura.
I don't know what's happening. But I don't like it.
Me neither. Do we have anything else to say about her? Like, she's gonna fall in love with Rand.
I don't. I mean, she'll obviously be one of his lovers, and we all know it, and it's just going to be a frustrating buildup to whatever happens. It'll probably be very sudden where she's just like, I love you. And Rand's like, what? You're so mean to me. That makes no sense.
I'm fighting it. I'm fighting it because I just don't believe in us. And I just don't want to admit that you could love Elaine and me.
Elaine's going to hate me, but I can't stay away. Cue.
No, thank you.
Love.
No, thank you. No, thank you, Robert Jordan.
It's happening.
Do you want to go to Rand's other love interest, Min?
Min? I mean, what is there to say about Min in this book? That she gets angry at Elaine's brothers for being total jerks. Fair. The end.
I actually kind of liked Min in this book. She's...
What because she really do? She's not in it very much.
I know, but she's like fighting against Suyan to like leave the tower, but she's still providing intel. She's being like a spy. She like
I guess
is complaining about wearing a dress. And I like that she's like not I like that she's like her gender like is not all that defines her. And then when like the tower goes to hell, she like picks up her bootstraps and she gets those women out of there.
Yeah, she gets them out of there, so that's good.
And she sticks up for herself and like the people around her to Gawain and Galad. Even if she's like friendly with them, she's not taking their shit or believing they're like perfect. No, that's know.
Yeah, these are all very accurate points. I guess I just didn't think there was a lot, and that's all very fair.
Every time you have your perspective, she repeats, I just want to get back to Rand like 5 times.
Yeah.
If you ignore those, she's a great character in this book.
Yeah, I'm a fan. That's very fair.
I actually kind of liked her in this book.
I don't like how they mentioned multiple times about her wearing a dress and being shocked, or her hair being long and being shocked.
Again, her hair growing out
annoys me.
Is treated with the same amount of horror,
shock, and awe
as Perrin's beard. You got Perrin's beard and Min's curls, and they're both just mind blowing. No one could imagine these two having a different hairstyle.
Let it go.
Let it go. Like our lesbian hero, Elsa. Yes. Yeah. But I actually liked Min in this book. I thought she was like doing what I like most.
When you put it that way, I am on board with it. But when I was just thinking about it, all I could recall was them like making a big deal over her hair, her standing up to Gawain and Galad, and that was all I could recall.
And that's fair, but like that's why we're talking about this, so that I read it a little bit differently. I kept thinking like, oh, I kind of like her, and you were like, this is annoying.
Yeah,
it's okay that both are happening. Do we want to talk about Suyin?
Sure. I feel bad about her.
I know, it was so like heartbreaking to read all that stuff.
She seemed like she was very capable, and that she was trying to do good things, and it seemed really like she was blindsided, and it was kind of out of nowhere that they just came in and then they had to still her. They
had to still her and torture her. She was tortured.
Yeah, why? And they did this to Lyanna too, correct?
Yeah.
Was this necessary? I don't think so. Could they have not just made her a prisoner? Did they have to still her and torture her? I just don't think it was necessary.
I do think it'll be interesting for the future plots of the novel, because she says that like Aes Sedai who are stilled often don't have anything to live for. Mm-hmm. And I do think it'll be interesting to watch someone who has something to live for continue on after they're ripped away from this huge power.
Which is an interesting thing, because it's like, what is stilling supposed to be like related to in real life, that like, oh, you have nothing to live for if you're stilled? That makes me question, like, what does that mean?
I don't know what the one-to-one thing is on that, but I think it leads back to sometimes like, if you had magical powers, how much would you lean on them? Because the whole thing of Nynaeve is she's one of the most powerful, but she has no control over it.
She can't rely on it.
So she has become a capable person outside of it. And so
it's also just sad too, if you think about like, they have nothing to live for. Ugh.
you know,
because they don't have their power.
right. But I think it's because women, like in this book series, they become too reliant on the one true source. And there are addictive qualities to both, it sounds like. Like Egwene often just fills herself with the one true source because it makes her feel good. So I think it could be like it's an addiction story, like, you know, where it's like,
okay, that's fair.
What happens if you
I didn't think about it that way.
What happens if you no longer have that outlet and you now have to deal with the ramifications of not using that as a crutch anymore? And it's like, can you exist beyond that? And like Suyin is like, I have things to live for. It's not just about power or magic or how I feel. It's about what happened to me and how I can get back to feeling like a normal person. And that's, you know, I think
she also has a higher purpose too, where she wants to help other people.
Yes. I think it'll be interesting to see where her character goes, but I did hate reading about every single thing that happened to her.
That was just hard.
Well, and it felt like there was no reason for it.
No.
Like, I don't understand.
She was quickly introduced and then quickly bad things happened to her.
Yes. And there's a part of me that was like, I needed more on the backstory of why the Aes Sedai did this. Because it feels like they had
was so rushed where Elida was just like, this is happening, we're doing this. And then you're like, why? Why did this have to be so sudden?
She doesn't really give a reason. Like, she doesn't say like, because you said Rand is the Dragon Reborn, you can't be trusted. There was no reason for it given other than Elida wanted to be the Amaryllis Sea. So I was just kind of confused by all that.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you think of Elida?
I mean, I still don't think she's a dark friend. I still have like the hope that she is someone who's more interesting than that, just because I think there are far too many dark friends just running around. I think
I've been thinking about her, and I think you're right, where she may not be a dark friend, but she's definitely an evil character that we're not supposed to like, similar to how Umbridge is the worst, most evil character in the Harry Potter series, but she's not a Death Eater.
Yes, exactly.
So I think that's kind of what you were getting at, and I think that's what Jordan was doing with.
It's a really helpful comparison. I fully agree. I think Elida is someone who is supposed to be, she wants power and she wants to do what she thinks is the right thing. But through that, she will become one of the like most evil characters.
And also using, like a series of rules and
using
government
the system
type thing
using the system to help her.
Yeah.
It's similar to Galad. Like, I think Galad is supposed to be a character who's so pure, quote unquote.
Righteous.
But when you put that into the real world, it doesn't, because the world is full of gray. You can't just have this black and white, which I think was my issue with Gawain. I think Gawain has not had enough of the world to not see black and white. So I think Elida is not a dark friend. I will still say that.
Yeah, I'm on board with that now.
It's a power corrupts kind of thing. And we're watching power corrupt. And she got power because she didn't trust in Morghese anymore.
Yeah.
And she wanted to cast out people she thought were making decisions that weren't in like her quote unquote best interest, know? So that's my thoughts on her.
Yeah, totally agree.
I'm glad we're
I think that was
a
good take. I think that was a good take though, because I wasn't on board with that for a while. I used to think that she was a dark friend, but I've just kind of ruminated on that. And
well, when we see her perspective, she always talks about how like, oh, I made sure I was close to Morghese because I saw glory in her line. Yeah. And I remember when those two were close friends. Like, she's just more calculating than a dark friend type thing.
For sure.
But what did we think of Landrin, who is a dark friend?
I can't recall her.
She's the blonde lady who's like super evil and kept talking about how she would be rich and in power one day. And
is that the one that they questioned?
No, it's not the one they questioned. It's Leandrin, who's the one who like was the big bad, wasn't it?
That they were trying to find.
Yeah.
I'm getting them all confused.
Leandrin was the one who's like the main Black Aja.
Okay.
Who she goes and she sees the white cloak.
She was really crappy to them in The Great Hunt, correct?
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And in this book series, you find out she was poor, and that's why she wants to take them all
down. That's right. The poor shall rise up, and we shall show all the rich by torturing them,
but
feeding them to
also
Trollocs.
but
That's
also
how we
doing
get our revenge.
but also doing the thing where you also still oppress poor people because they were stupid enough not to rise up with you. Like that's pretty much what this is.
Yeah. If they're not gonna join you, then they're getting fed to Trollocs as well.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's like if you're not on my level the minute I decide to rise to power, then you're screwed. I don't care about you. I don't actually care about the poor. I only care that I was poor.
She cares about her agenda. She doesn't really care about what she says her agenda is.
I just love that was what Robert Jordan picked as her backstory because it's so funny
that like that's what it took to recall her in my mind because I could not place her for a while, and then you say, "Oh, she is the one that was poor." And I'm like, "Oh, yes,
yeah,
that's the dumbest storyline ever."
So funny to me that it's just like Robert Jordan is talking about pretty much like working class people and how they see politics.
That's how we are.
If I get rich, then I deserved it, but everyone else deserves to be poor. Like it's not luck or anything. It's just
if I work my way up and become rich, it's all my success, and no one else deserves to have it.
Which is even dumber because she literally had to have an inherent power that rose her in class status, and then sell her soul out to become even more powerful. But then she's like, nope. I deserved this. Like, no, you didn't. You made some very specific choices. Like, no. So that's Leandrin, guys. Do we want to talk about Egyanan? Do we have any opinions on her?
I don't.
Yeah, I'm interested to see where she goes. Like, I like that she is like, oh, I'm not a fan of the Daman, or like I'm questioning what my people thought of these people. And I'm willing to help you guys now because I realized that like I was raised with a certain type of bigotry that I want to get rid of now.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I think she was interesting, and she's like learning that her people are not great. So
yeah, that they have a lot of flaws. So
do you have any comments on the Aiel women as a collective? Like we can talk about Amis, but I feel like you can talk about them as one party.
I agree. You can talk about them as one party that we don't really get much from them, that it could have been a lot cooler, and all we get basically is them just like belittling other women by making them
wear braids,
punishments. I mean, what a weird punishment. Or belittling women by wear this skimpy outfit and be all tantalizing to this man.
But it's so weird to have those women do that who are also like, we have women who live and die by the spear. We have all this like rah feminine, like feminism.
Very contradictory. So
contradictory. It's just not well done. Not well done.
No.
I also do, again, the parts where it's like, Nynaeve, come on. She's like, all of a sudden I had these braids in my hair, and I could think like, they couldn't have done that to me. And it's like, Nynaeve, they're obviously trying to humble you. Come on, girl.
Yeah.
It's Nynaeve being Nynaeve. Okay. And so we come to our final character who we have talked about ad nauseum. So I feel like we don't have much left to say, but the wonderful, incredible Foo Foo.
I do not like this character.
We hate this character so much. She's the worst. The worst.
Is awful. Awful. Why?
I just hate what Robert Jordan did for this beautiful, stunning character that we love so much. And now we have to hate him like all the rest because of his wife. His wife.
It's so bad.
Just so you guys know, I whispered his wife. It's a Bechdel
cast joke. His wife.
There's a movie where there is a like cemetery plot, and it just says the woman's name, and then underneath it says his wife with no other context. It doesn't list the character's name. It doesn't say anything else but his wife. And so that's pretty much how I feel about Foo Foo. She's Perrin's wife. That's it.
I mean, she's from noble background.
She wants shove Perrin into nobility even if he doesn't want to. Like good, she's like the only good thing I can be is like, okay, I guess she stayed by him and helped the town
I guess she's
defeat
kind of
people.
smart because she brought people back to help them fight. I just can't stand their relationship and her.
So toxic, so dumb.
Much.
And even though they're teenagers, now they're married teenagers. So we get to judge them a little bit more than the rest. Like, I'm just going to.
Also, her interactions with the adults are weird to me as well. Like her interactions with, is it Egwene's mom? Where Egwene's mom is giving her advice on how to, quote unquote, handle Perrin. And I just hate it so much.
So bad. It's so bad, guy. Like, this is the worst. We hate this character. There's very few redeeming qualities. And like, I mean, the fact that Perrin and her, their advice is like, hey, maybe listen to what your significant other wants and respect their wishes and try to make it work within your life. And they're like, well, this is brand new information. Like, why is that brand new information? It shouldn't
I know what I'll try. I'll spank her.
It will you guys got physical with each other. You should not be together. Although I think Robert Jordan will probably do this with other couples. A lot,
so we can get married.
She's my mommy now, so I have no other choice.
I have no one but you, my heart.
This is why teenagers should not be allowed to get married.
Their whole relationship is bad. We don't even really know that much about just Fael by herself because she's always just in a bad interaction with Perrin, unfortunately. Yep. So we can't even really say anything about her on her own or with another character because we don't get those interactions.
She flirts with Lord Luke
in front of Perrin to make
she Perrin also jealous. Gives me vibes of I don't really like women because I'm more of a guy's girl. She gives me those vibes.
I guess I get that. I just think that she's literally obsessed with Perrin and trying to get Perrin's attention and trying to annoy Perrin and trying to get Perrin to obsess over her. And it's just all about Perrin. And it's annoying.
Agreed.
I just think that the way he has written her is her life revolves around Perrin and she is determined to make Perrin's life revolve around her. And he has a lot of other things going on that she is so not understanding of. And it's like, he cannot just obsess over you all the time. Can't you just accept that he actually does love you and let him, grieve or let him do things that he needs to do to protect people and not just be yourself all the time.
Maybe don't get married in the year that you lost your entire family and then immediately went into war and you're dealing with all that trauma. Maybe just let the dust settle. Like, again, maybe
Hannah, they'd been through so much together. It was like they were practically already married.
I understand this is supposed to be olden times, but maybe just do what Veronica said in one of our episodes. Just have sex and move on from each other. Sexual tension does not equal healthy and long-lasting relationships, people, and we should figure out the difference.
What was that part where they fell down the stairs because they were fighting or something, and then she ended up on top of them, and somebody walked in, and it was like, oh, we're in a position that people might think something's going on.
Did you guys think that I'm pretty sure it was just supposed to be they were making out on the floor, but the way Robert Jordan wrote it was like, do you really think that people thought they were banging on the floor of the inn?
That's what I read it, and I was like, that's dumb.
I didn't realize you read it like that.
That's what I read it, but I was like, that's dumb. Who would think that?
There are literal rooms upstairs.
I know. Upstairs. But there was a couple times when there was some weird, oh, we're crowded up against each other. What are people gonna think?
They also had so many moments where Fael has seen him naked so many times without his consent. He kept waking up naked in a bed and she's just sitting there. And then he stands up and he's like, oh my God, I'm naked. It's just
she's like, let me change your wounds.
Consent is key, people. God. We really don't like this character.
She's so awful.
So bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else there is to say.
I mean, we could go on and on about how bad this character is. But I think the thing that just bugs me the most is how Robert Jordan got rid of all of the other people in Perrin's life and then removed him from the camp of people in which he was friends with. So he's probably not going to reconnect with them anytime soon that we know of now, because he's Lord of Two Rivers. And
God.
his whole family was killed off, and all he has is Fayu, his heart.
She should not be his heart, people. I'm just saying it. No, thank you.
And
no,
also, this needs to be pointed out. Perrin does not know a lot of background on her.
No, he knows nothing about her.
She keeps everything so secret. Her life is so secret to him, and it just makes me kind of question why he wanted to marry her, because she's awful to him.
Because of sex, Laura. Because of sex.
That's not a good enough reason.
Obviously. Okay, yeah, that's what I was advocating for. Thank you. Yeah, I meant people should just marry to have sex. You're right. That is definitely the vibe I've been giving this entire podcast. This is definitely the vibe I've been giving. So
yes.
Oh, I'm getting okay. Before I have horrible flashbacks to my Catholic school days, maybe we should wrap up.
Fail is the worst. The end.
Agreed. So we've come to an end on The Shadow Rising, which was Laura's favorite novel so far.
Yeah. What do you think of it?
I really liked it. I would say it's tied for the third novel. I can't decide which one I like better, but I do like how Robert Jordan is expanding each time he makes these.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'm still a pretty big fan of the series overall. I really liked Rand in this novel, and I was kind of shocked to like Rand. Like,
I was also shocked that I liked Rand.
They've been doing good, making good strides.
But you know what? It may just be one of those things that I could not stand Fael so much that I forgot that Rand was there, and maybe it cushioned the blow. I don't know.
That's fair. I don't know. I'm interested to see where things are going. And I don't believe in sex before marriage, so we've established. So I know it's your favorite. Do you have any final thoughts on the book series?
Robert Jordan, stop writing about Fael and Perrin. Stop.
Please, we're begging.
I'm nervous about what's to come because they're main characters, and I almost just wish that you would just write them out at this point, because I can't take more of their relationship. It's so bad.
So
but they're here to stay.
They're definitely here to stay, unfortunately. So next week, we will be covering The Fires of Heaven, chapters 1 through 28. There are 56 chapters in total.
Okay, is this a bigger book?
No, it is smaller. Rising? It's smaller than The Shadow Rising.
My mass market copies, The Fires of Heaven looks bigger.
I mean, I have the smaller, like brick size version that are all the same size. So they're like no difference in font, no difference in everything. And it is smaller than The Shadow Rising.
Interesting.
And I think the audiobook, like I listened to it at like a different speed.
It's fewer hours.
It's fewer hours. So overall, it is a shorter book.
I'm just confused though. Maybe there's more maps. I'll have to look. Or a bigger
maybe there's
glossary.
More maps. A bigger glossary. Or maybe the font is just a different size.
That could be.
But
editors, reach out and let me know.
Definitely.
Robert Jordan's wife, please let me know.
We look forward to discussing a new book next week. If you have any questions before then, feel free to reach out to us on all the social media platforms at OWWRpod. That's our pod. And we can also be reached at ourpod@gmail.com. We look forward to having further discussions with you and look forward to talking about a new book next week. Bye.
Bye.